Welcome back to Seneschal. Today I'm going to touch on a couple of subjects, primarily looking at the Battle Sister Bulletin 4, but also looking at the rules for a Chaos model and what that could mean for Sisters Codex when that time comes. So let's get the most exciting part out of the way. New Seraphim 3D rendering. Like, that is saying true to the original model design and the aesthetic, but I really like that the new backpack is that fantastic looking backpack that we got with the Gemini. I really wish we had a picture of the backside just so we could see it a little more to see what that four-pronged on each side backpack looks like. But still, I think, we all own the Gemini. We all kind of know how that looks approximately. Now, the pose is significantly better for sure than the old Seraphim, though I doubt anyone thought that the Seraphim were not going to look better than the white metal rods sticking to their feet from the originals. However, I saw that Chapter Master Valrak's statement about hoping that they were on stands similar to the Gemini Superior, and I have to say I vehemently disagree. At least the single stand Purity Seal type. Like, I love the idea of it, but I would much prefer a clear flight stand rather than the very thin plastic seal holding the models up. Otherwise, I'm going to end up putting them on plastic flight stands or just posing them on the base because I've never been able to have those Gemini or Celestine with their stands cracking in their transport or in a game. If somebody drops one or bumps it, they're too thin. Now, if I didn't actually take my sisters out to stores to play, when I have the chance, I would take the Purity Seal stands forever because they look amazing. They add a lot to the model, but the reality of having a 2-year-old and transporting models that require such a gentle touch makes me hope that flight stands with a little more girth and sturdiness are what we get. Another thing I imagine that we'll see is a helmeted variety of Seraphim. 1, I just like helmets on my models as a general rule. 2, if they're in orbit and striking down to the planet, it feels like a rebreather would be at least mandated on a bare minimum. And last but not least, I'm just plain bad at painting faces, and I can cover up my poor painting skills a little better with a helmet. The details on the model are crisp. I like that the studs in the corset are a little more pronounced. I like that the cloth moving between the legs and around the arms a lot. Also, the change from the skull on the neckline to a fleur-de-lis is all a welcome change, especially given that we have skulls in the bolt pistols themselves, so I really like swapping that to a fleur-de-lis. It was also really weird for me to read that the jump pack exhaust change from the Gemini occurred years ago, since it just doesn't feel like it's been that long since we got new Celestine, but maybe this is just further proof of me being an old man. Don't forget to be on the lookout for the new survey come the 15th, so you can get your feedback in, and get your chance to win, well, they say a whole army, but let's be honest, the start to your new Plastic Sisters of Battle army. Alright, now on to a quick aside concerning the Dark Apostle. The new Dark Apostle rule is something that I think may be indicative of either the Ministorum Priest rules getting reworked, or possibly a reworked Acts of Faith. They have prayers that function on a 3-up, but with the ability to buff that to a 2-up given support models nearby. Now, I think we may see a priest prayer effect that comes with the new Adeptus Ministorum Priest, or they have something to mitigate the wildly varied usefulness of Acts of Faith. They could even smash 2 different rules together, and instead of having specific units to buff that role, instead have it be combined with, like, say, the Orc effect. And so if there's enough faithful models within 6 inches or 12 inches, they get a bonus to the roll. That would seem to mesh with their apparent desire to have Sisters create a more castle or deathball clumped army with the relics and the warlord traits, or it just could be completely different. But it's something that I thought of immediately when I was reading over that Dark Apostle rule, and having the priest be its own rule, and having other prayers of the dark gods, and seeing a possible analog to Imperial priests and prayers to the god Emperor of Mankind. So what do you think of the new Seraphim render? Anything you wanted to see on the model that isn't there? What about my ramblings concerning Dark Apostles? Do you think that could be a possibility, or do you have the hope they revamp Sisters to be completely new and unique effect? Thank you folks for your time as always. I'm heading to a tournament this Saturday, and hope to have a tournament report for you all next week. Try and do that to tide myself over until we get another Battle Sister Bulletin. I will put my list in the description, so let me know what you think of that as well. Have a wonderful week. Keep painting. Have fun wargaming. And as always, Ave Imperator.